Alright, me again. Yay! Well, sort of, maybe. Depends on your perspective, I suppose. But it's not really relative. There's an absolute here. Okay, we just don't know it. This is absolutely a great video. Or maybe not. It's something. But it's definable by some ultimate cashier. You know, in the end kind of thing. You know, knowing all possibilities, all permutations, all what if this was changed and that was changed, then what would have happened and blah blah blah. We don't know all that stuff, so we can't do that kind of crap. But the answer's out there somewhere. In the future, when it's all done, when it's all cashed in, you know, when you're long dead, there will be an answer to what you were. Useless or not useless. Yeah. Yeah. Whether you ought to have been. Ought. Well, anyway, this person, I won't call him a fucknut yet, but it seems he's got some of this skanky cunt disease. Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know where this whole oughty crap came from. Can't make an is from an ought, or an ought from an is, or a what from a who. Oh, it's just so convoluted and stupid. I mean, really, it's really fucking dumb. We can analyze everything for its serviceability. This paper has to be right onable. A toaster has to make toast. You know, a faucet, water has to come out of the right place at the right time. I mean, everything has to justify itself by performing. Shit. So let's see what this guy's going to say.
Hey folks, Brendo here. I have not made a video in a while. And I have been I've been watching, but I've been steering clear of this antinatalism debate. But there was one thought, something Hannibal Barca 13 said, that I had some thoughts on.
Yeah, well, he's an idiot, so you've wasted your time.
And that's that life does not require a justification. And I agree.
Right. So the most important thing in the universe, we're not going to analyze its efficiency or performance. And we're not going to do it by some kind of overtly rational standard, which would be recognition that there are negative sensations, negative experiences, unpleasant experiences, and not negative experiences. And that we should have more not negative ones, days in the concentration camp, for example, and, yeah, more of those, not those. Yeah, we could stop right there, couldn't we? Because if we're not in a concentration camp, or we're not having brain surgery, or we're not having some other negative thing happening, then we're likely in a pretty good place. Anything not negative is probably some kind of positive.
In agreeing, I would restate it. Existence does not require a justification.
Oh, whatever that means. Yes, let's re-qualify what is to be alive. Oh, when you're alive, you exist. Yeah, that's right, I guess, right? We could say that. We sort of do exist as a sentience, right? That's what being alive is, mostly. I mean, I guess when we're asleep and not dreaming, we're alive, technically. So I guess that could be the difference. But that doesn't really explain by existence. Oh, we're just going to play with words. I get it now.
And I would further restate that as a simple tautology. Existence is.
Oh, whatever. So, yes. So we'll just say that. Alright? So if I make a car and it gets 1 mile to the gallon, I'll just say it is. It doesn't have to justify itself. It is, man. Buy it, fucker. Who cares if it sucks? Who cares if it's a piece of shit? It just is, man. Buy it. Make more. Just is. I mean, it's just bullshit.
Justification is an ought. Justification is an argument.
Yes, that's right. It's built out of simple logic. Right. There ought to be not suffering. Yeah, that's what there ought to be. Fuck.
Justification is a reason why. And the universe simply exists.
Oh, whatever. I mean, this again. So we don't make any judgments about anything. We just say it simply exists. So don't refine anything. Don't perfect anything. Don't improve anything. Just accept it the way it exists. No.
A equals A. This is not an argument. Perhaps in a formal sense.
Yes, it's not anything that has anything to do with anything. A equals A. Retard equals retard. There. I've solved it. Retard equals retard.
But in an informal sense, this isn't an assertion. This is an axiom.
Well, it's not even that. Your axiom is duh. Huh? That's not an axiom. I can't think of nothing. That's nothing. It's nothing. You're saying nothing. Don't think.
Truth is denied, then no sensible arguments can follow. If we do not accept that existence is.
Well, it's just stupid. Who is saying it isn't? That doesn't say anything about the quality of its isness. It has a quality, the isness, as a toaster has a toasterility. Okay? Everything is a function. It performs. It either performs well or it performs badly.
Then the reality of being is absurd. No argument can be made after that because it would rely on existence.
What is that? Where do you get this crap? How can you possibly speak this shit without just laughing at your own preposterous self? Can you play this video to yourself and see what how useless that crap was? What the fuck does an intelligent mind do with that mush? Fuck.
Life is a part of existence.
Oh, well, look, the only part of existence that means anything is sentient life. Okay, if it isn't sentient, it might as well be a machine. It's a rock. It's an animated rock. It's a rock bouncing down a hill. It's doing something. It's moving. It's being orchestrated, propelled. But it is of no significance because it can't do something like say, ouch. And for you to say saying ouch doesn't matter is just fucking idiotic.
Now, life, you could say, justifies itself. It is imposed on non-life, to use anti-natalistic language.
Well, whatever. Okay, the imposition is not on the matter itself. The imposition is my material form. Even my fingers are not being imposed upon because they aren't sentient. I'm sentient. My brain makes me sentient. The function of my brain, my blood pressure, keeping my brain alive, makes me sentient. None of these physical pieces have been imposed upon. Okay, the imposition is the creation of the brain.
And it self-replicates. Its justification for being is that it is being.
Yeah, whatever. Again, this is just such horse shit. This is worse than God. All right, this really is. I mean, how you know, it's bad enough that people. I mean, at least they had the imagination to say, well, look, if we're going to be here, let's just invent a creator so we don't look completely idiotic. But to sit there and say, well, we're just going to be, and we're not going to sit there and look around and try to assess what being is, what it adds up to. Fuck. I mean, your fucking brain might as well just be made out of hemorrhoidal tissue.
Now, this is not consciousness. This is just life. And to make an argument that life is not justified is to make an argument such as the weather isn't justified.
Well, it's just stupid. Again, there's good and bad weather. We can certainly editorialize it, and certainly as we gain control over it, we're going to influence it. We attempt to influence it. All right, we attempt to do everything we can to mitigate its impact on our existence. So again, this is bullshit. We ought all over the place. You ought not to stand in the rain, right? There's a phrase for that, you know, somebody who doesn't have the sense to get out of the rain.
Rocks aren't justified. Life exists absent of consciousness. Life simply exists.
Yeah, well, whatever. We're talking about the sentient part of life. Antinatalists are. They're not talking about the rest. And when most people hear the word life, that's what they're thinking about. The rest of it's consequential only because it's part of the story of the origins, the arisal of the life. It has an origins. It wasn't always an is. Okay? It was a not. And then it was a will be.
I would carry this across to consciousness as well, that it exists means that it requires no justification.
Well, again, it's just stupid. It's just a stupid fucking premise. That you don't evaluate things because they exist. And again, we can evaluate it because it doesn't even have a permanent existence. It has a temporary existence. It has an origin. It is part of a cause and effect chain, yes, but the point is that it is event oriented. There's an event horizon.
All justification will proceed from consciousness. That's the point you have to be at before the term justification even makes sense.
Well, whatever. No, all you have to do is be a calculating device that actually can appreciate the value of sentience. So if you program a computer to know that there's value in positive and negative sensation, it can make the evaluation. It could judge. It could weigh. It could balance on scales. It could measure performance.
That is your prerequisite before you can give a yes or a no on the subject of justification. You have to be past life, past existence, and at consciousness.
Whatever. Again, you want to separate these things for no good reason whatsoever, just so you can play word games, fine. But it's just that. It's meaningless drivel.
So using the term justification prior to that is absurd.
Well, I don't think somebody could use the word prior to that. And again, consciousness, without making the distinction that consciousness that is fully sentient is kind of an important subject here. Because one could speculate that you could have a consciousness kind of distinct from true sentience, where feelings aren't as real. Even the consciousness isn't as deep, like in a dream state. It's not unconscious, but it's not conscious.
When we ask the question why, in a scientific context or in a philosophical context, it has two entirely different meanings.
Well, whatever. They're both the same friggin' discipline. The idea is to define the truth. What is its origin? What is its nature? What does it do?
In an examination, in a study of the natural world, the scientific question why means what is the cause? The causal element that brought this into effect.
You can also ask, what is the function? What does it primarily do? And you could talk about consumption. And then you could talk about reproduction of a DNA molecule. And then you could talk about cannibalism because of a trapped and confined environment. And then you could talk about addiction, a psychological phenomenon of attraction and repulsion, of good and bad, of pleasant and unpleasant.
But it doesn't give you significance. You could say, philosophically speaking, it's the problem with science, that the answer to any question will just bring up at least another question.
Yeah, whatever. Sorry, no sale again. This is just a piece of jargon, a piece of mush. There's no necessity to ask any more questions. You could ask the question, is the Earth flat? In the sense that you would fall off the edge. You answer the question, no. I don't have any more questions.
Because all you're doing is getting larger or getting smaller in your observations. So you aren't addressing any issue of significance.
Well, whatever, again, who, whatever, you're going to say something? No, yes, maybe?
Why do we have 10 fingers? Why not 20?
Who cares?
Why do we have just 2 pairs of hands? Why not have prehensile feet? Why not have
Yeah, whatever. There's answer to all these questions, but who cares?
prehensile tail? Why not have a prehensile mouth? At various stages in our evolution, we have used all of these things to manipulate our environment, to build tools.
Well, not at all stages of our evolution. No, it's just a recent event.
Well, scientifically speaking, that's not really a comprehensible question.
What was the question again? Do you remember? I don't know.
Because we could have. We could have prehensile mouths, prehensile tails, prehensile feet.
Yeah, we could have radioactive nuts. Who the fuck cares? Really, who the fuck cares?
Why have one adaptation instead of another?
Yes, because of circumstantial evolution. That's right. We evolved. The thing, comet, dinosaurs extinct. Blah blah blah. Everything is the way it is because of the circumstances, and it could have been different if you moved a rock from here to over there. Everything would have been different if you changed the temperature by 1 degree over a 100-year period. Everything would be different. Yeah, that's the way it works. So what? Who cares? Get to something real here, please.
Point, we're into justification, we're into ought. When intentionally designing things, designing a bridge, designing a computer, designing any other piece of technology, it's a sensible question to ask, why did it have this design feature?
Well, I don't think there's anything in this discussion has anything to do with trying to undo the past, asshole. What we're talking about is what should our behavior be? What ought we do? How ought we react to this reality? That's the fucking question. We're not oughting about the fucking past, fucktard.
Instead of this design feature. But in terms of nature and its processes, it simply doesn't make much sense. We could have any other number of adaptations apart from what we have. Why consciousness?
Well, again, that has a strict answer, okay? There's an answer to why. All those whys are infinitely answerable.
Well, it's what we have. It's the position that we're in. It is our existence. We have to deal with it.
Yeah, and you're saying dealing with it is just say it is and forget about thinking about it. Don't fucking evaluate it, man. Fuck you.
Failing to deal with it gets us nowhere. Because it's the starting point from which we must proceed to get anywhere. Now, the other meaning of why...
Well, I don't understand. So there's a where to go, but you're saying there's no oughts because it's all an is that should just be accepted. So again, you're tripping over your own jargon here. You can't say there's a place to get. and then say there's not an ought.
The philosophical meaning, why, is what is the significance of this? Philosophically, causal agents are more or less irrelevant. If you ask why consciousness, it doesn't really matter what the process that evolved us into consciousness is.
Yeah, so how does this have something to do with it? Of course, that's correct. Yes, you're correct. Doesn't really matter how we got here. Doesn't really matter. Any of this doesn't really matter in the sense that it is, the event is the event. And even the event of me right now is a cause and effect event. But the point is, it is part of the script that's going to be part of the script. And I'm going to argue that this thinking thing, this evaluating thing, this ability to look at a car's performance and say that car gets better gas mileage than that car, so it's better to have that car. That capacity to evaluate has integrity. That is the place for our brain to be, is to be able to make those kinds of rational judgments. And that reason, although cause and effect in its origin, has real integrity.
You might be able to say, I can map out brain patterns. That's fine, but that's also irrelevant to the philosophical question of why consciousness.
That's not irrelevant if it's attached to something called logic and reason and rationality that are going to tend to find correct answers to questions.
That doesn't change its modal nature. It's something that we experience. Experience being a subjective phenomena will not be encapsulated in causal scientific inquiry.
Well, again, that's just more jargon. You didn't say anything there. Of course it's encapsulated and it has causes. We have parents, we have circumstances, that we have a genetic disposition, we have lots of circumstances that are the definition of our experience. Our experience would be something completely different if you change this. This is stupid.
And that is the level of inquiry that justification springs from this philosophical question of why.
Well, again, it doesn't come from a question of why. It comes from the asking the question, what? What is it doing? Is it performing? Not why. Why? We're not asking why. We're asking what? We're asking how.
What is the significance of an idea? What is the significance of a course of action? Why choose that instead of choosing something else? But that is where science and philosophy part ways.
Right. So the scientist says, it doesn't make any difference if you're a Holocaust victim or if you're a Nazi drinking tea. Oh, or is it the philosopher that says that? Fuck you. I think the only thing a rational person says is, don't put people in concentration camps because it's bad. Okay?
One has a usefulness that the other one doesn't. And it swings both ways. Without pure scientific inquiry, our philosophical questioning will not...
All we need is facts. Okay? We have a whole bunch of facts. Alright? We know what evolution is. We know what DNA is. We know what game is being played for 4 billion years. We know why we have these different tools, because they enabled our DNA to compete better and get its DNA into the future. That's all. We know all of that crap. and that there's this incidental consequence of this state of consciousness that has been imposed, and this capacity to be harmed in some real way, not in some non-existent way, but in something that really we can establish as a premise that it means something, and it would be silly to say it doesn't. I mean, really, you're not going to say it doesn't matter whether all 7 billion people on this planet tomorrow are, well, let's say you just had 2 planets. You know, one is people in constant anguish and suffering, and one is in people in constant bliss and comfort, and that it doesn't matter. You can't make a judgment about which planet would be the better planet to maintain. You're not going to say something that's stupid, right?
Proceed from a place of fact, or from a place of speculation.
Like I said, suffering sucks. It's kind of a fact. The negative state has been established. The repulsive state. The you really don't need to go any further than negative. It creates the mathematical value judgment, the negative state of conscious being, the negative experiences.
Without philosophical inquiry, there's nowhere for a scientific inquiry to go.
Well, again, this separation of science from philosophy, in my opinion, is just nonsense. It just is. Science helps glean facts. Philosophy has to interpret the facts. Something like that.
So while the two have to remain separate as disciplines, they have to forever be combined. They have to always be employed simultaneously in our minds.
Yeah, well, one could argue that the theory of evolution is philosophy, right? Because it's drawing a conclusion based on facts gleaned. The facts themselves don't get to say evolution. There's circumstantial evidence, and we put the evidence together and say it equals only one rational thing, evolution. There's no other rational interpretation of the facts. But we really wouldn't say that evolution isn't science, even though it's technically not a fact.
That is justification. The process by which we validate our beliefs, create scenarios to test them, and to engage others with our ideas to see how they challenge or confirm our own beliefs.
Well, I really don't see any of that as meaning too much. The point is you put them on the scale. That's right. You put them to the test. You say, here's the argument. All right? Well, here's the evidence for evolution. Now prove it wrong. Demonstrate some alternative possibility.
And that is the process of consciousness as a function of life.
That is the what? The process of consciousness as the function of life? What?
And that is the process of consciousness as a function of life.
That is the process of consciousness as the function of life. Please. Sorry, no, not even close. First off, the function is the replication of a DNA molecule. The consciousness is just a tool.
And it does not require justification.
Whatever. Like I said, we are in complete control of it now, in essence. And, of course, it requires justification. We take responsibility for it. We are the instrument that will decide what it will look like, what it will do, how it will behave, what it will be. Of course, it has to be justified now, because we are the instrument of it. We are the maintainer of it. We're paving the road it's rolling down. We're orchestrating the path it will take.
Because it is. Is.
Yeah, whatever. Again, mush. Just absolute motherfucking mush. You wouldn't just do this izzy crap if there was a fucking meteor heading right for your house, fella. You'd do the, well, where's my meteor umbrella?
It is the process of being in existence that we have to take for granted as a prerequisite, axiomatically. In order.
Well, I don't even know what that means. Take for granted. We have to take something for granted. Why? It's because you say so. Is that one of your 10 commandments of your DNA God? Thou shalt not judge the DNA molecule. Thou shalt not judge the creation moment. Thou shalt not judge 4 billion years of carnage. Thou shalt not judge the imbecility of a DNA mechanism that has no capacity to even understand what the fuck it's fucking with. Thou shalt not judge the maze game. Thou shalt just sit in their maze and play the game. No. Your God sucks. Your religion sucks.
In order to have anything to debate. In order to have anything to justify.
Well, sorry. It's just idiotic. All we have to do is open our eyes and say, what is it? What is its function? Okay? And the first obvious function I can recognize is the fact that I'm sentient and I hate feeling like shit. And I like feeling good. Damn it.
So, that's my thought on those issues.
Well, your thoughts suck, frankly. They just really just plain suck. They're just shit fucking crap thoughts. So, yes, you and Hannibal... yeah. Two what? 2 turds in a toilet.
Let me know what you think.
I think it sucked. I think it was a suck video. Boring as hell. Strangled all over the place. You made a 10-minute video to say, it just is, man. Dudes, just dude with it, duties. Because, dude, it was here first, dude. Yeah. Dude. You didn't say anything. You didn't make any kind of cognitively rational argument recognizing that there's anything at stake here and that we have complete, essentially we, if we act collectively, and even as individuals potentially, have a lot of power to influence. And therefore we have to make ought judgments. Video. But man, you people are just too fucking stupid. I mean, really, what's the point of having billions of brain cells if this is what you're going to do with them? It is izzy. It's completely isified. Yeah, it's isified. Yeah. Isification. Yeah. Mega-iserized.